Here's my argument. Here's my argument. The more creative you are, the less consistent you can be. The more consistent you are, the less creative you can be. What do y'all think? What do you think about that? Do you think that creativity and consistency can coexist? Can creativity and consistency coexist? My argument is yes, but. Yes, but I think it's the justice scales, right? It's like the more you are on one hand, the less you are on the other. I think it's I don't think it can be equally balanced. Let's argue. What do you think? I was having a very interesting conversation with the gentleman, Mr. Beaumont, recently on an interview that will be coming out soon. And I asked a question, posed a question comparing brand expectations in the hotel space versus the restaurant space. Not really versus the restaurant space, but using the restaurant space as kind of a springboard to the question, right? For instance, you buy into a McDonald's, you're buying the McDonald's brand, right? You franchise a McDonald's, you don't have that creativity to say, you know what, today I think the Big Mac should have 4 slices of bread. You know, there's no room for that. You know what, those sesame seeds, outdated. It's an allergen now. We need to take those off. It's not a decision you can make, right? So I want to know your thoughts. Chime in, chime in. Let's dig into this just a little bit. All right, welcome back to the Hospitality Hacks Pro Show. I am your host, Tasha Jackson. We talk about topics in and around culinary arts and hospitality with the hope and the trust that you can pick up some tips, tricks, and tidbits to help your operations run a little smoother, just a little smoother. I must say, thoughts, feelings, perspective, views, all of the above expressed on this show are mine and mine alone. They do not represent any other entity or organization or individual other than me, myself, and I. All right. Consistency versus creativity. There's a lot of things uh when you think about being an independent restaurant owner or operator, I should say, and or operator, when you're independent, a lot of things you can do, right? You can run specials. You can, have an epiphany in your sleep. When I had a dream about, you know, anything, right? Instead of chicken and waffles, we're gonna do, uh, you know, duck and pancakes. I mean, you can do whatever as long as it tastes good, sound good. You can sell it, right? Your servers can sell it. But when you are buying into a franchise, buying into a brand opportunity, part of the power of buying into that brand is the preset mold of the standard operating procedures that they're going to provide you with, right? I pick on McDonald's a lot. I do, admittedly. But double cheeseburger is gonna have what? The two pickles, ketchup, onions, the same patty every time, the same amount of each ingredient every time. Every time. It's consistency. Now, if you want to get creative, right? I think today the double cheeseburger should have 3 pieces of bread. Why should the Big Mac have all the fun? Right? You can't do that. You can try it, but sooner or later they come to those visits, or somebody complains. They sends that nice little email with the picture or something, like you're gonna get caught up. You can potentially be put out of the system if you're inconsistent for too long, right? That's a prerequisite to having the privilege of buying into this brand, is that you have to do things our way. It is what it is. Does that take away some creativity? Maybe, but you're gaining that consistency in exchange, right? Consistency of a solid customer base, as long as you're in the right location and they're coming for that menu item. The expectation is there that they're going to get it that same way every time. Let me stop picking on McDonald's. Let's talk about somebody else. Starbucks. right? It doesn't even have to be food related. It could be any of the standard operating procedures. For instance, a Starbucks, my expectations when I go into one is they're going to ask for my name, right? They're going to put it on the ticket or the cup. That's my expectation. So if it doesn't happen, I give an eyebrow raise. Like, okay, all right. Um, Now, if a barista wanted to be creative and do something like, instead of names today, I want to ask everyone's favorite movie. I'm going to write that on the cup. What's your favorite movie? A little more creative potentially. However, that's not our brand standard, right? And so you start getting a little creative, stretching out a little bit. We're losing that consistent guest experience. That consistent experience. Now, one would argue, yeah, is Starbucks sales really going to go down if there's one Starbucks not writing names on cups? You can argue either side of the coin, right? But my argument is, when you have a standard, it's a standard for a reason, right? And they're put in place so people don't have to think too much, right? And so I know when I walk in, order my drink, I always get the same drink every time. Triple soy upside down caramel macchiato. Iced, baby. Ice, baby. A little extra caramel drizzle because, come on, caramel is wonderful. Caramel or caramel? What's up? I feel like every I don't know, every episode there's one of those words: data, tomato, caramel, caramel. What's up? But I'm gonna chew on this thought some more because I value creativity. I think it's part of the fun of working in food, is the ability to try new things, put different spins on things. I've been saying I don't cater to for the past 2 years, and I think I might dip my toe back in the water catering, right? So I've been having people consistently asking me, I've got an event or I got a small gathering, I got this, I got that. Do you cater? Do you cater? I'm like, no, 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 no. Unless it's with the kids. No, 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 I don't. But the thing that I like about catering is the ability to be creative. So you also have the control, right, to say yes or no to things versus if you're in a brick and mortar storefront type situation, right? So the frustrating piece can be when people want to put you in a box. And I guess this is a personal rant now. We've transitioned. We've transitioned, and it's my show, so I can say what I want. We transitioned to a personal rant. When people put you in a box. So as a Black woman, when people ask for catering services, they very typically automatically gravitate towards soul food. Nothing wrong with a good Southern meal, down home feel. And when people ask me, what do you cook? I usually say, my answers vary because I don't necessarily have a specialty. Like if you ask me to cook something that I've never cooked before, I'm going to do homework, watch videos, look at several recipes, try the recipe several times, taste it, adjust it, take the parts that I like from different recipes, put them together and create my own recipe, right? That I feel good about. And then I cook it for you and serve it to you, right? Now that's something that's not a typical like, oh, I'm just experimenting at home for me or my family, right? That's or just putting stuff together and just a little dash of this, dash of that. That's a different scenario, right? But in that scenario, there's the ability to be creative, right? I like this part. I don't like this part. Let's figure out what I like, put it together. What flavor profiles work nicely together? What is it being paired with? All of that is the ability to be creative versus getting a preset standardized menu and cooking from those standardized menus or standardized recipes, right? This is the offering. This is how we cook it. There is no, I like this part. I don't like that part. It is what it is. Make it happen. Right. So I think there's a place there's a time and a place for all of it, right? There's a time and a place for the creativity, and there's a time and a place for being just super laser focused on consistency. And I think the creativity can pave the way to the consistency, and then in that way they can coexist. For instance, in that scenario I just gave, if I'm trying something new, playing with it, tweaking it until I like it, once I like it, at that point, this is the recipe I always use for macaroni and cheese. Period. These are the cheeses I always use. This is the quantity. This is the type of noodle. This is the right. This is the standard now. Right. So I think if we're using that creativity, if you have the space to do that, to pave the way to being consistent, you're onto something. But if every single time we make the macaroni and cheese is a different recipe, now that's literally a recipe for disaster, right? One day it tastes like this. I got cheddar and smoked Gouda and Parmesan and, you know, white cheddar. The next day, you know what? The white cheddar, it wasn't giving me what I wanted. I'm gonna switch out the white cheddar for something else, right? Or I'm gonna take it out completely. I'm gonna double up on the smoked Gouda. You're changing the whole flavor profile, right? Changing the whole flavor profile. But anyway, I'm still thinking through this, but I think that's my initial thought, and I'm sticking to it. Creativity has a place when it's paving the way towards consistency. Consistency always wins the day when it comes to repeat guests and getting people to come back and see you over and over and over, right? Consistency in food, consistency in service, consistency in experience. And it doesn't mean that everything has to be exactly the same every time, in the sense of you can never change your menu. That's part of the fun of being independent, is you have the ability to put a little flair, a little extra on it. But if you're going to present, let's stay with the macaroni and cheese example. If you're going to present that macaroni and cheese on Monday and on Wednesday and on Saturday, and it's supposed to be the same dish, then it needs to taste the same. If your front of the house standard is we know everybody by name or respond to everybody by first or last name, tomorrow it shouldn't be what's your favorite movie in the Starbucks example, right? So I think that you can even purposely vary something as long as you vary it consistently. So every first week of the month, we're going to ask people their favorite movie. Every second week of the month, we're going to ask them their favorite color. Every third week of the month, we're going to ask them their shoe size. Every fourth week of the month, we're going to ask them their name, their middle name. All right. And then when it comes to the first week of the month again, start the cycle over. Right. So we're varying something, but it's still in a way that is consistent and delivering a similar experience. And you might argue, yeah, we do this in order to get to know our guests and learn different things about them. And so we want to switch it up. That's cute. That's cute. I like that. Right. There's a way you can do it. There's a time and a place for all things. Right. So chime in below. Let me know. What are your thoughts? Am I way off base on this? What are your thoughts on this? Can consistency and creativity live harmoniously? Can they coexist? Can they coexist? And if so, how? Do you think they should have similar levels of importance in an operation? Very interested to know your thoughts. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like, you comment, you subscribe. See you next week.